Massaba's in the middle. Wednesday here could seal it. Gassama finds Massaba. Yeah!
It's now Bannon. Bannon with a great ball in. Here's an opportunity. Palmer scores! Liam Palmer has scored for Sheffield Wednesday.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to see the Wednesday win away. Hey, it feels good to sing that one. It's not the first time we've sang that either. Right, with that good, we've started giving teams a head start. Once again, we concede the first goal, but once again, we come back from behind to win and take all 3 points back to Sheffield. It's another win on the road. That's 5 wins from our last 6 away, and it begs the question, can we play away every week? Hello and welcome to the Wednesday Till I Die podcast. I'm James Mappin. Alongside me, reunited once again after his week away in the middle of absolutely nowhere, is Matt Johnson. Matt, how's it going, mate? All right?
Yeah, not too bad, James. Not too bad. It was a nice week. I say it was a nice weekend. The way, who am I kidding? But yeah, it's nice to be back.
You said it was nice. You was with your in-laws, Matt. So I mean, you survived because you're here now. Yeah. But how was it, mate?
Yeah, it was a tough start from about 12:30 on the Saturday, because obviously we were playing on, for those obviously who weren't at the game, we play on Sky Sports Plus, you know, that fantastic service that's pumped all the money into Sheffield Wednesday this year. The mood of the weekend switched a little bit when I forced all of my in-laws, who none of them are into football, to sit and watch through that mess of Sheffield Wednesday Preston that you and Sops dissected last week. So yeah, the mood was quite low. I did start, it got to half time and it was that bad. I walked over to, there was like everyone had bought like drinks down and stuff, and I walked over and there was just like that crack of like a bottle like top. Yeah. My missus just shouted from the living room. She was like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm having a rum," is what I'm doing. And I don't drink rum at all, but I literally looked there and thought, right, what's strongest thing? Right, that'll do.
Don't blame you.
Yeah, it was okay. Yeah, it was okay, but it was you know, much better being stood in the away end yesterday at Oxford than obviously the weekend previous.
Yeah, I've heard that the pool table saved you somewhat.
Yeah, I was beforehand. It was a very, very swanky Airbnb. For anybody who does want any details and would like a nice weekend away and would like to earn some brownie points, please hit me up on X or on Blue Sky. And
are you on commission, Matt, or what? Or?
No, but I am happy to send you it, because if you are looking for a weekend away in a very nice house with pool table to keep you entertained, yeah. But there was a lot of stuff going around beforehand about like who was half decent at pool and when we rocked up, and I haven't played pool for I don't know, like 8 years, like in any sort of capacity. The thing that I do have over my in-laws is I did work in bars for a long time, and every single one of them pretty much had a pool table in. So yeah, it was it's quite funny by the end of the weekend.
Good stuff. Matt, before we get into the nitty-gritty of the game, obviously you was there at the Kassam, that 3-sided monstrosity. How we can have a football ground in the English Football League, certainly in the professional football, to only have 3 sides. I can get it, you know, when you have like kind of, you know, they've only got 1 stand or something like that. But if you've gone through the efforts of putting 3 stands in, I mean, come on, just put another one in. It's not exactly hard, is it? Is that your first time at the Kassam? Have you been before?
Yeah, it is actually my first time at the Kassam. I was looking forward to it. I mean, tickets were, for anybody who obviously knows, like tickets were like gold dust trying to get them. The day that they were released, I was teaching all day, so missed the release, and thankfully got saved through, you know, the fantastic Wednesday fan base with people not being able to go. Was a bit on tenterhooks on Friday when my ticket still hadn't turned up, and kind of thinking, oh, am I going to have to really start going back onto like social media and desperately trying to find another one? There was me and another lad, Harry, who messaged me on there, who was saying, oh, my ticket hasn't turned up either. And it was like these two like kindred spirits basically sat there panicking on Friday. I was fortunate mine turned up. Unfortunately, I had to shell out for another ticket from somebody. So yeah, but again, 3-1 win, you kind of take the hit where you get it, really.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you went to Derby last. You had issues with the parking. Is Oxford any easier, Matt, to get away from?
No, James. Obviously, you only see that from the TV. You see the 3 sides of it. So you see,
a huge fucking car park as well.
Fucking car park. But what you don't see is even behind that car park, there's even another one that's double the size of it, which everybody just goes to. And then before you know it, you don't quite, you think as you're driving in, oh, this is going to be a nightmare to get out of. Like, this is going to be difficult. The only positive that I will say, as opposed to Derby, where I did sit in pretty much one spot for a solid hour, that was at least moving, which was a positive. But again, I was very, very smug yesterday when you messaged and were like, what time are you setting off? And I was like, wait, it's only an hour away. I don't think I'll set off too early. It took me 2 hours to get down there and 2.5 hours to get back. So yeah, really, really good. I should have just gone to Hillsborough, really. It's exactly the same sort of distance.
Yeah, mental that. Matt, like, Danny talks a lot, and Peter on the debate show, about kind of not getting too high on the highs and not getting too low on the lows. But I find it so difficult, Matt. I know he keeps preaching it and everything else, and I keep trying to tell myself that, let's not get too... It's mainly on the lows, if I'm being honest, kind of not getting too disheartened, and you have to look back at where we were and everything else. But that feeling when you win, it just makes the weekend, doesn't it? Especially when you've... we scored 3 goals, it was 3-1 win, 3 points, you're moving up that table again, and to someone that doesn't follow football, it's such a hard thing to explain, that feeling of the high when you win and the low when you lose. Like, I can see people now when I go to work thinking, it's just a game. When they utter those words... It gets me so infuriated, but it's right though, isn't it? When we win, it's that euphoria. When we lose, it's so hard not to get angry and annoyed.
It is, and as Peter's just put in the chat, and I will highlight it now. Manage your expectations. Yeah, absolutely. He's been preaching it all season. He's 100% right. But again, yeah, it does dictate your weekends. And how does that old song go, James? We're not going down, we're not going up. We're Sheffield Wednesday, but we definitely do give up. I'll let everyone fill in the blank.
The monkeys.
Yeah, because we 100% do. And that is, I suppose, that is the good thing about like mid-table, because you do need to get carried away with the individual results, because you're not going up. I know we're going to come on to talk about the fact that we're only 5 points off the playoffs. But yeah, I'm just very much enjoying the ride. And when the lows are, I think if you can contain the disappointment to the 90 minutes for the losses, and maybe, I don't know, say for argument's sake, a Tuesday night at home to Blackburn, if you can contain it for that evening, and then by the day after when you wake up and you're done and you passed it, that's fine. I think realistically, I think it's just, again, because we're on social media tonight, like lots of people like kind of live a lot of their lives on social media now. That does seem like very much a vacuum and all the rest of it. So yeah, I think it is just about kind of like realizing, it's really not anything to get too worked up about. I do actually buy into the get carried away when we win, however, because actually that feeling is great. And in a season like this where we're not really playing for too much, it feels, I'm fully on board with getting carried away with a last minute winner at Derby and a very comfortable, as it turned out, win at Oxford.
The thing is, though, Matt, we talked about the atmosphere last week and in midweek as well. It's difficult to kind of have the atmosphere and have like the euphoria as we've been mentioning, but then also ask for people not to get too disappointed when we lose as well. Because I feel like if you're going to be subdued when we lose, you're also going to be subdued when we win as well. I know that's kind of what Danny's asking for, but you want those, you want to get carried away. You want people shouting and screaming and jump, hitting the roof and everything else like when we score. You want all that, and I think so. You have to kind of take the fact that people are going to get a little bit annoyed. What I don't like is when people get personal. Do you know what I mean? When things are going wrong and they're starting to get angry with each other and everything. Like, we don't need any of that.
That's pointless. That is properly pointless, isn't it, James? Like, really seriously, that is properly pointless, because usually the person you're arguing with is another person on social media, or they're sat in the stands with you. You're not both stood on the pitch, so just move on from it and get over it.
Yeah, exactly. I started off with a song. I'm going to give you another song as well. You might have seen it on social media already from the one that is Gaz Robinson on Twitter. It's a great one, to be honest. It's to the tune of Let's Talk About Sex by Salt and Pepper. It goes a bit like this. Let's talk about Smith, baby. Let's talk about Valerie. Let's talk about Paul and Danny, Dish and Svante, and JD. I mean, what's your verdict, Matt? Out of 10, is it?
It's another cracker. As I said to him before, I bumped into him in a hotel before Wembley. It seemed to be the only place near the ground where actually Wednesday fans could drink. And I actually went up to him. I'd never known him before. All his mates give him a load of shit as well because they were like, "Oh, it's Gaz from Twitter. Oh, it's Gaz from Twitter," which I thought was fucking hilarious. But I did say you've given this fan base so many laughs by just coming up with utter garbage, based off of like mid-90s reference songs that nobody gives a shit about. Like it is really impressive. I'm very in awe of people who can just off the top of their head just come up with it like that. That is really, really impressive. However, I will say, Gaz, I do think you're being a bit ambitious because it took a while yesterday for the snow is falling all around us, that to get going, because people were going, what are the words? What are the words? And I'm thinking, oh my God, like that did take a while. So it's a cracking song. I really hope we can get it going.
Yeah, we football fans, you've got to be careful, aren't you? You can't be too wordy, can it? There's got to be not many words to have to remember.
Yeah,
repetition. Repetition's all right, innit? Do you know what I mean? But no, look, if that gets off the ground, fair play. It needs to happen. I'm sure it'll be sung on many away days. At home, we don't sing at home, do we? So
no, I was going to say that's definitely one for Middlesbrough and Preston. That is one for Middlesbrough and Preston. Let's not even bother trying at Stoke because nobody else seems to.
Exactly. We're taking a long time to get to the match, but there's something else I want to mention.
Yeah,
he didn't wear them yesterday.
He had them on in the first half. He had them on in the first half, James.
Did he? Did he? There we go. Jamal Lowe's boots. He had them on against Blackburn. He had them on in the first half, as Matt rightly said. They're silver boots, Nike Mercurial Vapor ones to be precise. I had to look them up in chrome lime. Matt, have you ever worn any boots like that?
They're belters. There is no way on earth I would have got away with wearing them either as a youngster, and I damn near would never wear them now. He's great, isn't it, as a Wednesday fan, because you've been on boot watch for years with Liam Palmer and like the regens of all the Preds and stuff like that. And I've got a close friend of mine who's a Bolton fan who basically any time that Liam Palmer was dropping a new set of like boots or Predators, I'd screenshot kind of like Liam Palmer and just go Pred watch and then just send them through. But another interesting fact about those boots, Jamal Lowe was the first person in England to wear those boots. So he was the first player in England to wear those boots in a professional match. So that was against Blackburn on Tuesday. He was the first player to receive them, and he wore them. He then took them off at half time and scored, obviously. So yeah, I mean those are never coming out again. Stick to them black ones, Jamal, like for sure. Do
you know what? I looked them up, and I don't know if these are the legit ones or not. But if they are, 450 quid.
Yeah, they're a limited release, James. There's only, I want to say there's something stupid, only like 5,000 that have been released. So they are like gold dust to get your hands on.
I'm not the person to talk about boots. I don't play football anymore. When I did, I had like 2 stripes on Windsors. That was a kid. So you could say that these are whatever boots, and that means nothing to me other than they look the part, and like you said, I would not be seen dead wearing those. No. It's like when you were playing football and you saw a kid with white boots and you thought, oh, he must be good. So they weren't. Your first touch wearing them has to be fucking immaculate at amateur football, because otherwise you are just getting berated for the rest of it. But you can just see at Sunday League, if someone's wearing something like that, you're getting clattered in the first 5 minutes.
100%. And if you're, I think, so they're a regen of the World Cup 2002 boot, which Ronaldo wore there. And then after that, because I think, so again, I don't play anymore, but I won't beat around the bush, James. I was a absolute boot slut when I was a kid and when I was playing kind of like on Saturdays and stuff like that. They are, Nike are going through, so they've seen the success that Adidas have had with relaunching the Predator, because when Predator was shelved by Adidas, they said it was never ever going to come back. And then they brought some really horrible ones back, and then they've remade these. They're then planning, I think, to see how sought after these are before diving back into that back catalogue of all the other Nike Vapors that they've released over the years. Yeah. I think they're also thinking about re-releasing the Total 90s as well. There's been a few kind of like For anybody who is on like Instagram, there are a couple of like football boot pages where you can see like players like wearing like testers and stuff like that of them. So there's a couple of the old Total 90s with the tongue that comes over the top that have been floated around as well. So it'd be really interesting to see what ones come up next. Stephen Fletcher had them on this weekend as well.
Did it? We're going to be talking about him in a second, actually. Let's get into the match. We've got a few things we're going to talk about. We'll leave that until after we've talked a little bit about the game at the weekend, because that's what everyone wants to hear about, of course. Yeah. The lineup. Then 2 changes. It was Beadle in goal. Then it was Valerie, Bernard, Maxlow and Johnson. Bannon, Charles, Windash, Jamal Lowe, Gassama and Smith. So the 2 changes were Iofa and Masaba who made way. Smith and Gassama in. I looked at it and I was like, not really sure what formation we're going to be playing. Is it a back 5? Is it a back 4? Not really sure. I think quite a lot of people were a bit unsure as well. But what did you make to the 2 changes? Because it looked attacking from my initial response.
Yeah, I think on paper that's our best 11 with current players that are available and fit. I think that's been the team that's been probably over the course of this little run of fixtures where we've been relatively successful, the most successful. Okay, the football always hasn't been as sparkling as it was at times in that second half yesterday. But yeah, I think that's our strongest. I think I looked at that and was very much like, that is Valerie and Johnson as 2 kind of like wing backs with Bernard and Lowe as that centre half. But obviously, depending on what side of the pitch the ball is, I'll get that right. I'll put my teeth back in a minute, James. Sorry. Which side of the pitch the ball is on, you'll have that kind of like covering left back or right wing back who fills in and makes it kind of like a back 3. As it turned into, it was a back 5 for most of the time out of possession. That then turned into both Josh Windass and also Barry Bannon and Shay Charles dropping into those wing-back positions when we did receive the ball amongst the back line to try and kind of like start attacks and kind of like move stuff around. I think at the moment that is our strongest starting 11, but I also think I do understand the need for rotation amongst that, because I think if you just continue to turn that starting 11 out week in, week out against teams in this division, I think that becomes a bit predictable to play against. But yesterday, it was 100% the right team.
Yeah, I was, like I said, Smith, I thought was harsh for him not to play midweek. I spoke about kind of his goal contributions per 90, how it's well up there. It's one of the best in the league at the moment. And I think there's a case of, he has scored goals when he's come off the bench, so that does help you, your numbers and your stats and stuff like that. But I know Rob spoke about XG, and I think he's well up there on XG per 90 as well. So he's clearly performing, and he just needs to keep doing what he's doing. And I was pleased to see him getting the chance. And as much as we want Ugbo to do well and we want him to score goals, of course we do that. We're Wednesday fans. It was probably the right thing to do at this moment in time. I think to give him a bit of a, I don't want to say rest, because I don't think he's not exactly tired, but let's give Smith a run in the side and let's see there's a lot of games coming up in Christmas. Ugbo is going to get some opportunities.
I think it's also horses for courses, James, really, because if you looked at the centre-half pairing that Blackburn had on Tuesday night, it's a fairly agricultural centre-half pairing, isn't it, in terms of Danny Bart being one. Can't remember the lad who played alongside him was. But they bought McFadzean off the bench also late on as well to kind of shore it up. I have a couple of concerns playing against an opposition that are, what are they now? After the weekends, it's 6 wins from 6, and like 4 of those have been 1-0. My only concern about playing Michael Smith against them is exactly what you're going to get. Now, I will also say, I'm going to come on to this later in terms of kind of like a public Michael Smith apology from myself. I will twist it a little bit because I can't fully give him all the credit. But I was not surprised to see Jamal Lowe starting in midweek because I thought he had earned his shot. I would have preferred to see him starting from a wider position rather than centrally, because I think that's where he's better. But I also understood it because you can fire the ball into his feet, and the 2 centre halves who are playing don't want the ball on the floor; they want the ball in the air. So there was a multitude of problems on Tuesday, which I know you've covered kind of like on the debate show. But I think it was 100% the right call yesterday to bring Michael Smith back into that starting lineup.
Yeah, let's on the game, 3-1 win, fantastic to win again. It's going into the game, we'd had the most points from losing positions. we've kind of further cemented that with another 3, of course. I mean, what does that say, Matt, from a mental point of view? Because there were times, even early last season, early this season, really, we went a goal down and we were going to say, well, that's it, we're going to lose the game, we're not coming back from this. And it's been a problem with us for a while. We've never been a team that's come back, at all, really. We would very rarely draw a game, let alone win a game. But now we've done it. I think, what is it? 4 of those 5 wins have come from behind. Coventry, Portsmouth, Derby, and now Oxford as well. So, and to be honest, I think some guys were saying it in the Discord. Went a goal down, and nobody really worried.
No,
it kind of, people thought, we're going to get chances in this game, and we're more likely going to turn it around. But it does show that mental character. Certainly, it's improved anyway.
It shows what a bit of belief does, doesn't it? Like, it really does. Like, once that happened away at Coventry, it's almost like the floodgates have completely opened, and it's like there's no longer both panic stations on the pitch and also amongst the playing staff. Because there was a point earlier this season where you would have said, well, if we concede first, that's it. You might as well shut up shop and just go home. I remember doing and speaking on I think we discussed before Luton. And it was like how vital that first goal is, and how important that first goal was to kind of us and all the rest of it. Now, ultimately, as long as it doesn't start getting out of hand, you're always kind of thinking, well, we'll get a chance, we'll get one. Even, again, without covering old ground, even going back to Tuesday night, you'll get a chance. Like yesterday, prime example. I mean, the first half, I know we're going to come on to it, James, but it was like a basketball match, that first half, in terms of how back and forth it was. But I do believe it is what a bit of belief does, because you don't see players berating one another when we concede anymore. You don't see that real tension and players trying to do much. We just go back to doing exactly what we were doing before the goal, and ultimately having the belief in the system and also the playing style that it's going to come good. It's a really, really refreshing change at this level, because we saw it at League One, but it's a really refreshing change at this level.
Yeah, exactly. And you see some of the top sides in the Premier League, they go goal down and they can still pull it back, whereas... Yeah, it's just great to see us doing that for a change. I'm going to talk. There's a little bit of negativity, only a little bit, and let's get it out of the way first and foremost. We conceded the first goal again. I know we're coming back, and I know we've just been talking about having that belief and stuff. But my oh my, we are making it hard for ourselves. I'd rather not be at the top of that list of points from behind. I'd rather have none, because we'd never go behind in the first place. Like I said, it's just making it really hard for ourselves, and we have lost games. It's not like every time we go behind we win. And I just thought, we were on top. We had, I think it was 65% possession at that point, and with one of their kind of first opportunities. I mean, to be fair, I think they'd had 4 shots at that point, but they weren't exactly great efforts.
P-rollers basically, weren't the Jones at that point?
Yeah, they're just not really testing. But then they get that chance, they stick it away, and you're thinking, yeah, I know. I've just been saying that we're going to get chances and score, but there is always. I'd rather not concede a goal. That's what I'm saying.
Against sides like this, and on this current run that we are on, playing teams who are either in and around us or below us, which there are now a lot of sides below us. I don't know how that's happened again. It's okay. But the problem comes, say, for argument's sake, Boxing Day. You concede to Middlesbrough early doors. They're a good side. They don't just give you those chances like the teams who are in and around us and below us do.
Well, we conceded first against Blackburn, and they just shut up shop, and we found it very, very difficult to break them down. And I think, when you come up against better sides that are able to do that, and let's be honest, the Blackburn fan said that would happen, and it happened. So, you've got to, like I said, we're coming up against better sides like that, and we've seen that, what is it now? Is it only West Brom that we've beaten above us so far this season? So, it's shown that come up against them better teams, and we will struggle. What did we do differently, Matt, yesterday to what we've been doing in the previous 2 or 3 games? Because I want to say, I know we beat Derby, but that wasn't a great performance. It wasn't great against Preston. It wasn't great against Blackburn either. I know we got 4 points from those 2 games, but I felt that the performances in those 3 were left wanting a little bit. But yesterday, it did seem a hell of a lot better.
I think the tempo in terms of how we played yesterday was good. Even when the ball went backwards, there was a purpose and an energy to it. We got the ball wide really quickly. And when those wide players got it, they didn't try and do too much. I thought, again, there's going to be a lot of points over this, James, where I sound like I'm being really, really harsh on Oxford, because actually I thought in the first half they were really, really good. It helps when a side gives you a lot of time and space to do so. There was, even when the ball went out to wide areas and our player was basically on the touchline, they still had the opportunity to take a touch, take another one, get the red up, have a look, and then find a pass. That helps massively. I think that was the side most recently that we've played where I thought this is a side that are absolutely bereft of any sort of confidence. I genuinely don't think they're a poor side. Like, they looked okay in the first half. Like, it was two relatively evenly matched sides. I would have said we were the better of the two, obviously. But if you look at on the strength of chances, I think Oxford definitely could have gone in at halftime 3-1 up. Like, they missed two golden chances. I think what we did differently yesterday is, when we have had the opportunity to we mixed the game up, actually. Let me rephrase that. We mixed the game up a lot yesterday. We didn't only just look to go short and play kind of like quick interchanges of passing. We also looked to switch the ball when the opportunity was on, even if it didn't come off a lot. Like, I mean, there was a couple of times in the first half where Bannon tried to play one of those raking 50, 60 yarders across the pitch, and their left back just jumps up and heads it 5 yards before it's ever going to get anywhere near Jan Valery. But then when we do look to play the ball into the midfield, I think the centre forwards and the wide forwards did really well in coming in off those flanks as well and actually knitting the play together. I just think that in terms of, like, if you're looking for a baseline thing, I just think the tempo of it was a lot better yesterday. There are obviously little things in between that have helped, but the tempo of it and the speed at which we were doing things was a lot better yesterday.
I just thought they were kind of more on the same wavelength as a team, in terms of, there's been times this season where it has looked like, and I think Jan Valery said it, did he say it this week or was it last week, where he said there's been times where we're not really that sure what's happening. I think his words probably come out a little bit wrong. It's probably not what he wanted to say exactly. But, and I've seen that where it looks like they're a little bit lost. But I didn't really see that yesterday. I felt like the passing was a lot more crisp. Players were making runs and they were being found with passes. I mean, Oxford didn't really put us under that much pressure in terms of, like you said, they did let us find a pass. And I think when you do that, when you have got players like Charles and Bannon that can actually pick a pass out, and you've got people wanting to run like Masaba, Johnson, Windass also wants to try and get in behind as well, I think that does help. It gives you time to actually pick that pass out rather than rushing. But yeah, it was good to see. I was disappointed with the reaction that we saw at Blackburn. People called me out for it, but I didn't really see much of a reaction, or certainly not the reaction that I wanted. But yeah, much better against Oxford. And as we've seen this season, we, other than those 3 defeats at the start of the season, there isn't any other time where we've had consecutive defeats. When we've lost, we've followed that up with, if not a win, certainly a draw. Yeah. You know what I mean? So we haven't had on the flip side of that, there's only been 2 consecutive wins this season as well. So we're not doing the best on the other side. It is, as we've said a few times already, mid-table form. Win 1, lose 1, draw 1. But, we haven't gone on these mad runs like Oxford are on, which is 15 games now without a win or whatever it is.
Yeah, one win. One win in 15. Yeah, one win in 15, which is, I mean, that's 12 months ago. That's us. Like, nicest will in the world, 12, 13, 14 months ago. That's us. And it was, I did actually feel for Oxford yesterday, because I think when the season that we got promoted, there were 3 ready-made sides for the Championship, if that makes sense. It felt like there was a lot of shit at the bottom of the Championship that actually could quite comfortably have been replaced by ourselves, Ipswich and Plymouth. Last year, I think Oxford obviously snuck into the playoffs. They probably then didn't expect to go through and end up ultimately getting promoted. It just felt like it's happened too quickly for them. And actually I thought yesterday it was one of the first times, aside from Plymouth on the opening day, where I've watched a side and gone, these are going to struggle. Like, these are going to struggle for the rest of the season unless all of a sudden somebody makes them a horrible side to beat, and all the like your stereotypical side that comes up, horrible to beat, snap into tackles, waste time at every single opportunity. But from watching Oxford for 90 minutes yesterday, that is not their DNA, and it's not how they want to play football. It's not how Des Buckingham obviously had them playing up until he's been relieved of his duties today. It also wasn't the way that Liam Manning had them playing in League One either. So that is going to go against that. You talk about wanting a DNA at a football club. It may take them going down to then look at coming back up, to actually come back up with some sort of like real fighting capacity to be able to stay up. I know they're not in the bottom three at the minute. I think that's a mark of how shit the teams at the bottom are. But I would be surprised if they're not there come the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, Danny's got the knack of doing that, hasn't he? Getting managers sacked. What is it, the Millwall boss last year? The Hull boss got sacked. Now, now the Oxford guy. And let me just check my notes. Narcis Pelak needs to watch out. Not Stephen Schumacher, who I tweeted saying that he was a Stoke manager. Which, do you know what? If you want to get some traction on social media, people love to correct you.
Yeah, that's say something wrong.
Get something wrong, and Christ Almighty, you'll get people trying to tell you what you've said wrong. But anyway, I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that was their manager. That's how much. I mean, Stoke are just a nothing club, aren't they? Really, like no, they just don't.
We'll come on
exist.
to we're playing. Obviously, we're coming on to. I know we'll do a preview of them at the end of the show, but that's going to be my word, that's going to be an interesting game on a weekend. If you were looking for an uninspiring fixture going into the Christmas period, that is most definitely it, isn't it? Yeah, definitely.
Do you know what? That first half, Matt, I felt like we just threw caution to the wind, and I know there were quite a few people saying, "Well, what's happened to the defending? We're all over the place and everything else." But I feel like, in those previous 3 games that I mentioned, like against Blackburn in the second half after they got that goal, we found it very, very difficult to break them down. We found it very difficult to break down a Preston side as well. And we have seen that, this season. It is when teams come and we have more of the possession, we have struggled. The games that we seem to do quite well in, we've been having 30-40% possession, letting them have the ball, and happy days. So I do applaud Danny for trying something different. We could have easily just gone about it and had the same approach that we did against Blackburn and struggled in this game, and then we could have come away with 3 points. But we've been talking about another shit performance or everything else. So you have to take the fact, if you're going to try and break teams down and you're going to try something in an offensive point of view, you're going to have to take that you're going to leave yourself exposed a little bit at the back, and you just hope that you're going to pick up more shots, have more attempts, and ultimately more goals than the other team. So I didn't really, once I kind of worked out what we were doing. Do you know what I mean?
Once I got over the Sheffield Wednesday in me.
Yeah. And once I kind of worked it out, that's what were happening. So obviously it were happening consistently. I was all right with it. I'd much rather have a manager that wants to change things and see something that's not working and do something about it than just keep doing the same old, and then wondering why we're getting the same results.
It's perfect to do it against a side like Oxford or Plymouth or QPR or whoever. Like you can do that, and I think you can do that definitely with a 2 in midfield against those, because I do think that is where a lot of the chances that we gave away yesterday was due to our mistakes or poor play, giving the ball away in silly areas. And then all of a sudden, they're straight at your back 3, 4, 5, however many are back there, because the midfield is completely bypassed. I suppose the argument is, and it's one that I would continue to make against those better sides, I think if you play a 3 in there, there's that extra level of security because you're always going to have somebody in the central area of the park. Whereas what we saw yesterday was, the Beadle one where he misses it, where he comes sliding out and misses it. A better side, the player doesn't take a touch. He just hits it first time and it's in the back of the net.
I thought that were a goal.
100%. Yeah, 100%. But
But
again, it's I can't remember. Was it Dale? Was it Owen Dale or was it Scarlett?
It
was Dale or Scarlett. I know Dale missed a one-on-one with James Beadle where it looped over, I think, Jan Valery, and he got in at the back post, and Beadle comes and doesn't come and then makes a good save. If that is I'm thinking, I know West Brom are just slightly above us and they're on a torrid run. If that's or if that's a Sunderland, like if that's a Sunderland, they don't even think about it. It's just one touch hit and it's straight in the back of the net before you can even do anything and blink about it. Against a side like Oxford, who are bereft of, as we've said, without any confidence and actually the quality of players on the pitch, they have to take a touch. They have to then get back. It then allows, I think it was it Max Lowe or Bernard who makes the block or whoever? No, Jan Valery, credit where it's due.
Yeah.
When Jan Valery makes the block, it allows that kind of opportunity. So if you are going to do that, I think a side like this is perfect to do it against. I'm really not meaning to sound really down and defeatist here. We would be a hell of a League One side at the minute with that current playing style, because ultimately that is, again, without really meaning to knock Oxford, that is what they are. They are a League One side. Like in every aspect of it yesterday, they were a League One side, very competitive League One side, but a League One side. The second half, we made them look a very, very, very average side at this level. You know, you would almost verge on kind of like they were flat out of ideas by about 60 minutes, really. But yeah, I would much rather Danny go out and try and be attacking and, as you say, play the percentages, because that is exactly what you've said there, is he's playing data. He's saying if you get more crosses, you have more touches in the opposition box, you get more corners, you get more throw-ins in advanced positions, and you get more attacks in those advanced positions. Ultimately, we've got better players on the pitch than them, and we'll score more goals. I wonder what we do with the budget, James. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, exactly. Or I mean, I was about to say, or just forwards that are scoring, but you know, 3 of them did score yesterday, which was great to see. You know, Windass has now got 6 goals for the season. Yeah. Jamal Lowe, that's his 3rd in the league. Gassama, his 2nd goal. Obviously, you know, he doesn't score tap-ins, does he? He has to absolutely welly it every single time. But it is always good in it when the goal getters do exactly that, get the goals. It takes the pressure off, and it takes off the pressure off the players that aren't scoring. You know what I mean? Ugbo, I know we keep mentioning him. You know, I know he wasn't even playing yesterday, but you know, heat is on him. But when other players are picking up that mantle and scoring the goals, it allows you. You know, we're not losing every week because the pressure would be 110% on him. But it is great that I know Smith didn't get a goal. We'll talk about him in a bit. I thought he was fantastic. Yeah. But it's great for the confidence that these, you know, the forwards, like I mentioned, are scoring. It'd be great for Jamal Lowe. I think he, again, fully deserved his goal as well. But yeah, it's great to see. As much as you want goals coming from everywhere, you do want your strikers scoring. Well,
I mean, Josh Windass, just keeps doing it quietly, doesn't he? Like, nicest will in the world. Josh Windass just keeps scoring. You know what he's due now? An injury.
Matt, sorry, that
James.
Will be clipped up.
Sorry, James. That's what he's due. But no, credit where he's due. He's scoring goals, whether you like him or not. And we had obviously a big discussion on Extra Time about kind of like why is he not unanimously loved by everybody? He's on 6 goals for the year. We're in December. And for a side that has struggled to score goals consistently this season, that's a really valuable asset, no matter what way you look at it and try and chop it up. Jamal Lowe, being a bit part player, has got 2 in his last 4. Boil it down, that's 1 in 2 from bit part play. Because, you know, in those 2 games that he scored, he started one, he's come on as a sub in another. He's got the winning goal at Derby. He's got the vital goal that has started to take the game away from Oxford. Jeddy Gassama, again, depends on what way the wind's blowing as to kind of like how good he is on the day. Yesterday, I don't just think his goal was excellent. I thought his overall performance was actually really, really good yesterday. Yeah. He was bundles of confidence, taking on players when it was the right thing, drawing fouls when it was the right thing, laying the ball off. It is really good that we have got players who are in those forward positions scoring.
Matt, what are you saying? Are you saying that Gassama's speedboat had a driver this week?
I would say driver was present this week, James, for sure. It was like the owner of the boat had decided I'm going to have a nice weekend just before Christmas out on the lake, is kind of what it was like a little bit this week. It wasn't like just, I've left that unmoored. Where's that off to? And you just catch it midway out on some reservoir somewhere and you stood on the bus side thinking, do I swim out or wait until it hits the back of the other shore and then go and get it? Like, I'm not sure. But I thought he was excellent yesterday. There was a number of players. I know we'll come on to kind of like players that we've picked out. But again, I thought he was excellent yesterday.
You've mentioned Windass. Let's talk about that goal then whilst we're at it. You know, ball comes in from a corner. I've not said that many times on this
ball comes
podcast.
In from a corner? What?
Well, to be fair, we have actually said ball comes from that happens a lot. I think we're second or third for corners that we've had this season. But what I haven't said after that is we scored from said corner. I mean, to be fair, it's a great ball in from Shea Charles. Keeper can't come for it. It's in that kind of that area where he's left it for his defenders, and they've done him the dirty really because the marking is absolutely terrible. Yeah. I mean, let's give Windass the credit. The movement that Windass shows there kind of drops behind and then kind of ghosts in. I don't know whether he gambles that the ball's going to go there or that's kind of what's been done in training. Maybe the set piece coach has actually got his done something good this week for a change. Yeah. But the ball comes in and Windass swings a leg at it and goes in the centre of the goal. Nothing else that you can really say about it other than we've gone behind and 10 minutes later we're back on level terms and it's a good finish.
I think the shock from the away end, if you go back and watch the highlights, is all you need to know because it's not like a prolonged celebration. It's like a really muted, what? Yeah. It's really, really bizarre.
It wasn't as long as that Watford one, was it, against Plymouth, was it?
No, I'll be honest, I thought it was an own goal. Like, I from where we were, you couldn't really see it. It had just gone into a crowd of bodies, and before you knew it, it was in the back of the net. It wasn't until you see Josh Windass with the ball under his arm running away with his arm aloft, because obviously Josh Windass doesn't celebrate goals, that you knew that obviously he'd put it in. Obviously, when you get back from the game and you see the highlights, or obviously if you were watching the game yesterday, it's actually a really good finish because the ball is dropping from quite a height. There was a lot of deliveries from Shea Charles yesterday that make really awkward for a goalkeeper. I always remember being taught as a kid, like in-swinging corners are the hardest ones for goalkeepers and defenders because it's going back towards your goal and you've got to make a decision with it. Actually, I suppose if you can deliver a ball that well onto, because it was, I thought with a lot of Shea Charles's corners yesterday, including this one, the ball went so high to begin with, would then just drop out of the sky. Like it wasn't like whipped in with loads of pace. Like there was pace on the ball, but it was the way in which that it dropped, because I think when it comes over the defender in front of Josh Windass, it's actually above his head. Like he jumps and misses it and actually then drops like straight onto Windass. Credit to him, because those are easy to come off your knee or your shin and go like 50 yards back out towards the corner flag or over the bar. Again, really smart finish. Really, really smart finish. Very, very pleased for him. Again, in terms of that takes his tally, for the season for, is it six in the league?
It is, yeah.
Which is really, really good. Really good. And was needed at the time after, obviously after Oxford's first.
Well, Windass's target, personally, I don't know what it's going to be, but I would have thought it's going to be double figures at least.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like, as a bare minimum, he's well on track to get that
100%,
double figures.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, which is great, and let's hope that he does that. Let's hope he continues scoring those goals, important goals as well. I know you mentioned Jamal Lowe's being important, but getting back on level terms, the longer that it's 1-0 to Oxford, the more that they'll. It was like you mentioned, a bit of like a basketball game. But if the longer it's 1-1, the more they'll kind of look to tighten things up. But they didn't really have opportunity to do that because we were straight at them and trying to get that goal back. While we're talking about goals, we might as well do the full trio. You've mentioned Jamal Lowe already. The goal that he scores, he starts that move as well.
Yeah.
He gets
what
the ball.
A ball, by the way. What a ball.
Yeah, fantastic pass out wide. The ball comes in from Valerie, I think it is. It's not dealt with by Oaks. I think they go to head it, and then is it Brannigan that gets all mixed up and it hits it. It's what happens when you're on a poor run. They're the things that happen, and it bounces straight into his path. But we mentioned about kind of players taking a touch or whatever. From what I can remember, I don't think he takes a touch and just sweeps it in past the goalkeeper.
Yeah. He kind of like has his body on the half turn and lets it roll across him. He's I think Jamal Lowe is deceptively slower than he looks. Like I always remember Jamal Lowe earlier on in his career, it seemed to have like buckets full of pace, and he used to do things quite quickly. I now always expect him to set off at 100 mile an hour because as the ball rolled past him, I thought, well, hit it. Go on, hit it. Yeah, the ball out to Jan Valery, I think, is like outstanding. It's like one of those that's at hip height that he hits, as I think goalkeepers refer to it in terms of a sidewinder pass, where it's like bulleted in. Yeah. I think the biggest thing for me is it shows what happens when you've got bodies in the box. We had 4 players in the box when the ball goes in. Like those kind of things can happen. Like I did feel sorry for future Sheffield Wednesday signing Cameron Brannigan yesterday, because I thought he was one of the players who looked really half decent actually in the Oxford team and did look a cut above. But it's a really smart finish, and you want a predator in those situations. You don't want what we've seen from earlier on in the season from Michael Smith and definitely from Ike Ugbo. Player who takes a touch, does a little bit too much with it. Actually, Jamal Lowe just thinks, right, get it past him. Goal. Very simple finish. And it made it look, I think, a lot easier than it is, because he's got to do all of that with it. He knows a goalkeeper is going to be coming advancing towards him. There is a defender who's going back on the line, and he finds that little gap between kind of like goalkeeper's arm and his leg sliding out. Good finish, really good finish.
People say scoring before half time is a great time to score. I would argue that scoring just after half time's equally as good, if not better, because whatever's been said at half time to Oxford has gone straight out the window, and we're just going to continue doing what we're doing.
How many times, James, have we watched a side come to Hillsborough and just dominate the ball for 5 minutes and then go and nick one, and we go, what the fuck has happened here? We haven't started. That was exactly role reversal yesterday. For the first 5 minutes after Oxford had taken the kick-off, we had all of the ball for 5 minutes. And then ultimately, I suppose if you were an Oxford fan, you'd be sat there going, well, we haven't started. We haven't come out the traps here. And actually, I thought we were really good in actually killing the start of that second half. I think there was a bit of an interchange between kind of like Beadle, Bernard. It then went out to Valerie, who then played it back to Bernard, to Beadle. And I know that a lot of people get very frustrated with that passing it round the back, but actually it just completely kills any attacking momentum that you as a home side are coming out with. We watched Watford do it to us. Like, we could not get the ball for those first 5 minutes. And before you know it, they've gone 1, they've gone 2, and the game's gone away from you. We were really good at that yesterday, and that was really pleasing to see that we came out on the front foot in the second half.
Matt, it was funny because I tweeted when we went 1-0 down, I was like, let's remember that Oxford went 1-0 up against Middlesbrough and they lost 6-2 that day. I was like, keep the faith and everything else. I didn't realise that we would then go on to win the game 3-1. And it wasn't quite the 6-2, but still impressive. Let's talk about the third goal. I mean, everyone's gone absolutely mental about it. I don't, obviously I was there watching it. If you just read about it, you'd think it was a Michael
smart
Smith-esque goal. The ball, I mean, look, not taking anything away from Gassama. It does bounce before it goes in, but still, cracking finish. Michael Smith, again, he loves those little flicks, doesn't he? And little kind of lay-off, one-touch passes that he's been doing of late. He's clearly learned that in the summer, amongst getting in the gym and trimming up a little bit. But no,
and being able to run and being able to finish.
And turn into an actual footballer. But yeah, the little layoff for him, and then Gassama doesn't even think about it, does he? That's it. No. He's got one thing in his mind, and he hits it. And as well, when you watch it from that camera behind, it has a bit of bend on it, doesn't it, as well? Yeah. It bends into that far corner, and it's one of those goals. 60 minutes gone, it just killed the game, didn't it? 3-1 up. We could relax a little bit, and they were, a team that's already bereft of confidence, as you mentioned earlier. Then 3-1 down, it is pretty much game over at that point.
100%. And obviously, I thought we were really good when at the start of that move, where I think it's Cummings who's in goal, who has had a shocker, by the way, every time he's played Wednesday. He was the goalkeeper who was in for MK Dons when Bannon lobbed him from 70 million yards. I don't think he's won against us, which is always a positive. I think we do really well in pushing up the pitch, because we win the header after the clearance. I think it's Deshaun Bernard who wins the header from the clearance, which is really, really good. It then goes in, and it's really slick interchange in those wide areas. It then goes into Bannon. I will say, on the Smith set for Jeddy Gassama, that is what can happen if you have players around him. I think when Michael Smith has looked like he's not really been in games or not done it for a game, if that makes sense, it's when there's nobody around him. Yeah. Like that yesterday, how many runners did we have going beyond him, going towards him? Anytime he picked the ball up and he was back to goal, we had players who were creating an option for him. I think the set is good. Jeddy Gassama is better when he doesn't have to think. Like, that is a prime example of he's coming onto the ball, he's getting closed down, there's two players in front of him, and he finds the only gap that's there. Worldy finish, wrong way to run off and celebrate there.
Yeah, it was. It did a knee slide as well.
Belter as well, yeah.
like what is it with the grass? Like if I tried to do that on the local park, I'd end up having like a 6-inch gash on my knee or something like that,
full of dog shit.
I was thinking more glass, but yeah, dog shit as well. That would be not a great combo, that would it? To be fair, the goal, great finish. Like I said, just killed the game off totally. Let's talk about Michael Smith then. Give him some appreciation. I know he didn't score, but he worked tirelessly. Like I said, that little flick for Gassama was fantastic. Unlucky not to get on the goal sheet himself. I can't believe that this is a player that I wasn't really that arsed about him leaving at the back end of last season and in the summer. You know, I know we talk about Ugbo. Some people talk about Ugbo and the work he does off the ball and everything else, and I do kind of roll my eyes a little bit. But I thought that Smith was different yesterday. Like it's that link-up play. You could fire the ball into him. He was actually holding the ball up, as you mentioned there. He plays around him to, he's trying those little, the little passes around the corner, how someone kind of runs off, in between the defenders. Not only that though. Great from corners as well, which I know it's been our Achilles heel. Not necessarily in the attacking box, although he did win a few headers. More from a defensive point of view. How many times did a corner come in? Who's heading it? Michael Smith again.
Yep. Again, I've been very critical on here of Michael Smith. I will 100% give him his flowers on yesterday's performance. He was outstanding yesterday. He did everything but score yesterday. He ran channels. He linked the play brilliantly. I thought there was a moment where I think he slid the ball into, I think it was Svante Ingelsson, where he kind of picked a pass between two defenders and bent it round the defender from about 40 yards. The kind of ball that you would see Bannon play, really, like a slide rule ball. He was full of confidence, and when he got bought off with about 6-7 minutes to go, he looked genuinely upset to come off because I think he thought all this needs is another couple minutes, one chance, and I'll score. I thought he was outstanding yesterday. I thought he's been over the course of this season. Again, he's not, in my opinion, I don't think he's the long-term solution. I don't think that's just down to his age. I think that's down to obviously the quality, and I think this season is an outlier for him. I also think yesterday he benefited massively against the kind of level of opposition that he was playing, but I am taking absolutely nothing away from him in terms of his performances over the course of this season. He is head and shoulders the number one pick to be at centre forward at this moment in time. I understand the need for rotation. I understand why we do it. I understand that there are certain points where it is better to play EK Ugbo or Jamal Lowe in that central position because you're looking for something different to what Michael Smith offers you. But I think he has taken his chances this year really, really well. And for the rest of this season, if he goes on to score no more goals or get no more assists, ultimately he's done exactly what I would have expected of him this year and slightly more. So I've got no problem with it.
He's scoring the EK Ugbo goals.
Yeah.
Do you know, like the goals that, when I think back to the goals he has scored, I think of the Watford goal, like 6-7 yards out. That's where Ugbo was scoring last season, and now Michael Smith's took up that mantle. I know he scored that absolutely wonder goal as well, but not only that, he's getting assists. That's his third assist of the season. He's got 5 goals, 8 goal contributions, which is the most out of anyone. Windass is on 6 goals and 1 assist. So it just shows as well that not only is he happy, being on the end of the goals, he's happy creating them as well. I think you can add a few more in the cup as well, I want to say. I think he set the one up for Deshaun Bernard against Blackpool.
He set the one up for Charlie McNeil as well at Hull. He's the one who sets the ball off. Again, James, like if you'd have told me before the start of the season that we would have got, eight goal contributions in the league from Michael Smith before the start of the season, I would have said, oh my God, I'd snap your hand off for that now. Like if it, like legitimately, and we're in December. If he goes on to get, I don't want to sound like I'm digging him out here. Let's say he only gets 8 goals, like between now and he gets 8 goals total between now and the end of the season, and adds a couple more. That is much more than I think anybody would have anticipated Michael Smith at the start of the season going. Whereas we were talking, the week before deadline day, is he going to go to Wrexham? Is he this? He's definitely not going to get in here. Blah blah blah. All credit to him, like genuinely all credit to him. Like he's working his absolute socks off. I think he's always going to be limited in terms of his footballing ability, but he's playing to his absolute strengths at the minute and his absolute best. So really well credit to him. This is the best I've seen him play in a Sheffield Wednesday shirt because I'm talking about the level that we know he can do it in League One. Like we all know he could do it in League One when he was at Rotherham. Nobody has ever seen him perform this consistently at a championship level before. Really well done to him.
Here's one totally left field. Do you reckon any teams will be coming in for him in January?
Yes. Yeah. I think if you're half smart, if you're at the top of League One and you're looking at that battle that's there, Wycombe, Stockport, Wrexham, Birmingham, Lincoln, Bolton, all of those type of sides, you should 100% be looking at Michael Smith. And you should be bidding 750 grand for him, because at the moment he's a valuable asset to us. And that's realistically probably what it would take for him. He's got 6 months left on his deal.
I think so, yeah.
That's probably what it would take from us, for them to prize him away from us. Would you also say no to a side like Derby or Portsmouth?
Well, I was thinking Derby was the team that I was thinking at the moment. I'm just looking, they're not exactly lacking for goals, to be honest. No. But I was just thinking, he's just guaranteed goals, isn't he? And I think when you look at, I think you're probably right, League One, whether they could afford to bring someone like Michael Smith in, I'm not too sure, but yeah. Sorry,
James. On the other side of that, just while you're looking up something, just on the other side of that, we would be absolutely stupid to release him at this point in time. If you'd have told me that in the summer, cool, absolutely fine. If we can get $500,000 for him,
it's the Atinuyu effect, isn't it?
But that's it. Yeah, he's playing for a contract somewhere. Realistically, if we were to release him now, we've got Jamal Lowe, who is not a centre forward, and he's scoring goals from wider positions rather than being as a centre forward. The last two games that he scored in, Derby and this, he's not played as a centre forward. He's played coming off the left. So keep him there. That is where he should play. I think we've all come to the realisation of that now. If anybody did even remotely tune into Blackburn, let alone watch the full game, he's better off the left. Then you've got Ike Ugbo and Callum Patterson. Ike Ugbo, again, I believe he's a very good footballer, but at the minute, you can't defend the fact that he's not scoring goals. You've got Callum Patterson. For those people who still keep banging on about Charlie McNeil, he's not the answer at this point in time. You can't let him go. And that is bad for me and you who've both sat on here saying we need to sell players when the offer comes in and all the rest of it. At the minute, you can't let him go, because he's the difference between you finishing, say, 9th or 17th at the minute, because he's scoring goals and he is linking play and he's providing lots of assists. So, we should be milking him for all he's worth over the last 6 months, 7 months of his contract.
I was looking how old he was. He's 33. He was 33 in October. So I was thinking, if he does go somewhere else, if he's only got 6 months on his contract here, then is he going to find somewhere else? Being a free agent. Whereas if someone's going to pay a bit of money for him, they're probably going to give him, I don't know, a 3-year deal. But I was like, that's going to take him to 36 years old. But to be fair, he's looking better this season than he did last.
Yeah,
and
100%.
I'm going to see there'll be some rumours flying around related to Michael Smith, and it's well deserved as well. I think he's doing great this season. He did fantastic yesterday as well. Matt, I know we talked about getting carried away and stuff, but are you starting to look up that league table and think, what if? We're only 5 points off the top 6. I want to say as well, I'm more relieved that we're 12 points off the bottom 3 rather than looking and saying I'm 5 points off the top 6. I know that's a very cup half empty attitude to have, but I'm a Wednesday fan.
Sorry, James, I'm laughing because if you thought that was cup half empty, Jesus Christ, what are you going to think about this? Until we've got the points to be safe, no. I'm being deadly serious here. Until we've got the points to be safe, absolutely not. Until we have got to
21 points is up to 50. That's all we need.
Say we get to 50 or 53 points. Cool, then I'll start looking upwards. Now
6 wins. Should we have the countdown on the stream? 6 wins till 50 points.
6 wins till 50 points. But no, really seriously, I'm not, because you look at how far we have come just this season in terms of from where we were when we went into the first international break. 1 win in 4. Okay. And we were and that was just coming off the back of that Millwall game where we looked, oh my God, like the world was falling apart. We then went into that next block of 4 or 5. We drew at home to QPR. We lost away to Luton with 2 dodgy decisions. We then started to get some good results. Coventry was the one just before that. After that, when we've got out of that run of all of those horrible teams that we were playing and we've gone into this run of favourable fixtures, yeah, great. I'm really pleased that people are looking upwards. But until we get to 50, 53 points, I am doing nothing other than firmly looking at where is that tally in relation to 50 odd points? Because that is the benchmark for this season. If we can hit, say, 50 odd points by late March, April, thrilled, genuinely thrilled, because everything else you're playing with absolute house money.
Yeah, Lawrence has just said there, we had 29 points midway through February last season. Huge improvement.
Yeah, massively.
Yeah, I 100% agree, Lawrence. And I'm kind of a bit like you, Matt. I think, once, look, if we carry on, pick up another couple of wins before the turn of the year, and there's only a couple of games left, but win 2 out, was it 3 games before?
Yeah, 3.
3 games before now in New Year. If we win 2 of those, I mean, look, like we can dare to dream, can't we? But still,
one of those is at home, James. That don't happen.
Yeah, but I suppose people will say, well, look at Birmingham, they were doing all right. Probably at this point. But yeah, I'm not getting too carried away. If people do want to get carried away, look, that's what football's all about, isn't it? Let's dare to dream. I think we're a long way off that, but it is great to see that last season we were thinking, fucking hell, are we ever going to get off the bottom of the league? And thank God for Rotherham. But now, even that we're having this conversation is definitely a positive. I've got some listener questions as well. So I did ask people on Twitter if they want to get involved. Nick's gone with, if McGuinness went for 10 million, what's Big Dish worth?
He was, I know, I can't remember. Hang on, I'm going to find the comment. He was brilliant yesterday, by the way, James. I thought he was outstanding yesterday. He was so good.
Is it from Alex Young at the top? He said, evening, guys. Absolutely buzzing after that performance yesterday. But Matt was loving it. Bernard immense again, but full praise to Michael Smith. Friday socks off all game.
Yep.
Offer him a new contract now. But yeah, Dishon Bernard. I mean, look.
6 mil. 6 mil and go out and sign James Beadle permanently. But yeah, 6 million quid. Like, I don't think he's any more than that, just because of, I think Mark McGuinness has got a very, very established portfolio, and I think height is also on his side. Like, that's not to say Bernard's small, that's to say Mark McGuinness is a giant, or certainly looks it when he's playing football. It also depends who's in the market for him as well, doesn't it, really? Because I would be thinking it's got to be a playoff side who's in the market for him. Now, we're 5 points off the playoffs, James. Why would you sell to a rival? But if Middlesbrough come in, I'm starting the bidding at 6 million quid. Like, I'm starting it there and going forward. Yeah,
I was just about to say, McGuinness has got more games under his belt, but it's not that many more, to be honest.
Different, no.
I mean, I know Dishon Bernard's had, he's been at Salford, he's been at Hull, but he didn't really pull many trees up. But for us, 51 games he's played. Looking at Mark McGuinness, 83 appearances for Cardiff, then got his move to Luton. So I know he played 17 for us. So he's not that far off, Dishon Bernard. He's a year older. Although they're in the same school year. Mark McGuinness turns 24 in January, so they are the same age, pretty much.
I know. Sorry, James. I know that's to cut in. I know this is only a little thing here. This is only a little thing. Go back to how stellar Mark McGuinness was against Newcastle in that FA Cup game. Like, both him and Cameron Dawson were played out of their skin that evening. Like, if I think about him in that game and that last game for us, he was unbelievable. Dishon Bernard has not had one of or a couple of those games where you could legitimately say he has saved us all of the points in that game, if that makes sense. And I think that is the difference between the two of them at the minute. And if you're looking at Dishon Bernard, as you rightly said, a lot of those games have been bouncing around and he's not pulled up any trees. This is the first time that a club has properly loved him, like genuinely loved him. I think if this goes on for another 12 months playing the way he is, then I think you can talk about how much Dishon Bernard is worth. And I think that price tag probably goes north of 6 million to what he's worth to us. At the minute, I would set it at 6 million quid.
Yeah. I mean, talking of players being loved, Paul Valentin at the end of the game yesterday.
He's great, never done anything wrong.
What a fantastic right back Paul Valentin is. I'd have a statue outside Hillsborough one day. Certainly have a mural like Semedo will. But, do you know what? Like, obviously, I know we did the Christmas sweatshirt, this year, which I've seen, Sam's been saying, when if I buy it now, when will I get it? Tomorrow. So, well, if you're watching live, tomorrow is the last day. It's Monday, the 16th at midnight. From our suppliers, they've said that's the last day for guaranteed delivery before Christmas. If anyone was wondering.
Sorry, James. Christmas sweatshirt?
Yeah, have you not seen it?
No, please describe it to me.
Feliz Navidad, Spanish cult hero, which is Paul Valentin. If you haven't seen it, well, if you were there yesterday at Oxford, you would have seen quite a lot of people wearing
That's
it.
what they were. Those were those really fetching, like, blue jumpers with the print on. I'd wondered where you'd got them. Oh, it's amazing. Nice to know.
Matt, I'll chuck that £5.
Seamless, that, wasn't it, mate? Seamless. putting all my drama skills to good use there, mate.
Yeah, definitely. WTIDpod.myshopify.com if anyone was wondering. But no, like it was great to see him at the end as well. It was a coach full of lads. I know you mentioned him at the top that were wearing the Paul Valentin masks and everything else. And I messaged him and he said like, I'll read out what he said actually, because you just see he's a guy that's just absolutely loving life at the moment. I know he's not playing every single week, but when he comes on, everyone seems to absolutely love him.
Reception he got on. The reception he got when he come on yesterday was like, when we were talking earlier about songs and Sheffield Wednesday need very basic songs. I think it is also because it is just Paul Valentin. There's no running down the wing here, the Wednesday sing. There's none of that. It's just his name on repeat.
So you can hear that, and he just knows it's him, doesn't he? Do you know what I mean? Like, there's none of this. Was he singing my name there or not?
Yeah,
like, we're 100%.
Which was definitely happening to Jamal Lowe yesterday, because there was a Jamal Lowe one that got started. I can't remember what it was, but it was just after he'd scored, and you saw him like turn around towards the away end as if like, was that me? Because it must have been about, I don't know, 100, 200 people who were starting it at the back of the ground, and then it was sort of filtering down the stand. And I think you could see, it was very funny because I was visibly looking at him whilst it was being sung, and he was like...
Yeah, he's 100% in the changing room asking other players, like, did you hear that song? Or not?
Me?
Like, yeah. No, I just said to Paul, like, it must have been nice seeing fans wearing the mask with your face on it and stuff. And he said, yeah, I was so surprised. First time in my life. And people as well with the Spanish flag. I can feel how the people love me. So yeah, it's great. It's great to see that he's fully got on board. Didn't speak a word of English as well before he came, and to have kind of learned the language and be confident enough to do press conferences and stuff like that. Fair play to him. He's not playing every week. He's not starting every week, but he's just knuckling down. Everyone loves him, and you know what? We love a trier, and you cannot say that Paul Valentin does not try.
He is the ultimate player that you would want in your dressing room as another player. Like, really seriously, every time he comes onto the pitch, you know exactly what you are going to get from him. He is always an effective outlet. Okay, quality isn't always there. Sorry, Paul. Quality isn't always there. Sorry, Paul. Love you, Paul. But he is a really, really effective outlet for the team. Yesterday was a prime example. You're taking off what? You're taking off Jenny Gassama. And then he comes on, and you actually saw for the first, I think it was the opportunity where, was it Ingleson missed the first one, and then Paul has the rebound, and the keeper actually makes two really good saves, because the connection that he got on the second one, Valentin, was a really good strike. But you actually see the wing back early on try and close him down and get tight to him, and you just see him just blitz past them, and you're just thinking, 8 out of 10 wing backs in the division, or 8 out of 10 defenders who are coming up against him, just are not going to have the pace to match him. I thought I will say for a positive for him yesterday, I thought his delivery yesterday was much, much better than what you can often see. But I do think that was benefited by actually having a lot of advanced players in those positions where if he puts the ball into an area, was it the Michael Smith one where he fired it over pretty much at the scoreboard behind into the car park and hit one of the coaches? It was that one where he fires it into him, but he's on the edge of the area. how many times have we seen Paul Valentin break down the right and you look into the middle of the box, like immediately thinking, where's this going to go? And there's one player to hit and it's got to be a perfect delivery. So I do think he benefited from that yesterday. But yeah, again, as you say, cult hero status at the minute at Sheffield Wednesday. Long may it continue.
Yeah, it was good as well, because obviously you see Dom, don't you?
Sorry, James.
Yeah, Richards just said when Paul learns to dummy right and go left, he'll be a right player. Yeah, but you see Dom saying go over to the, because he does the hey, and then he comes back and he's pointing at the ones with the masks on, and I feel for them lads because he chucks he's a bit like his deliveries, I guess. He's got two players to aim at, and he gets the guy in the middle. And the guy that's not got the mask on.
He's not hit the guy in the blue jumper.
He's got the referee. He's got the guy in black. He gets it, and it's so annoying because obviously the lads have got the masks on. Kind of wanted the shirt, but yeah, I've messaged to see if we can sort the lads out with one of his match worn shirts. So hopefully that one comes off. But yeah, let's read some of the 3-word match reviews out then. At WTID Pod, if you're not one of the 15,000 people that already do follow us, huge respect to all those. Neil's gone with play away every week. Matt Glossop's gone with Smith, and then the better than Lewandowski, apparently, comparing him to the German legend. Ben, second half ballers. Dom, Rolls Royce, Smith. John's gone with 3 away points. Mark, that'll do. Stevie, what a goal. Stuart, Bernard, value soaring. Quite a few people saying that Bernard had a great game yesterday. Alex Young, Michael Smith, outstanding. Tommy Don, Max Lowe, class. Yeah, Max Lowe is quietly going under the radar, isn't he? As one of those kind of steady Eddie, 7 out of 10 every 100%. Single week, Mr. Dependable, which is great to see. Louise has gone with ace. I'll read a few more out. Anthony, well machined oil. Who was it that said that? Was it Martin Keown?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah. And then James Brown's gone with, I don't think he's the James Brown, but...
that'd be a shout.
Dane the Messiah. Yes, great stuff. Right, let's... how long we got? Let's talk. I was going to talk about this at the top, but I felt like we were talking way too much about other stuff. Sam Hutchinson, signed for AFC Wimbledon on a month-long deal. I've already touched on his moustache early on in the week, so I'll not talk about that again. But please do shave it off, Sam, please. He's done his first interview with the club. I'm sure you've listened to it, Matt. But what a guy! What were your memories of Sam Hutchinson?
Exactly that. Exactly what you see in that interview. A very raw and honest player who you actually are aware that he knows himself he's playing with house money because his career was done in his early 20s. And then he is seen every single day as a bonus. Any time that he mentioned Gary Monk in that interview, you could almost see it with a smirk. And there was that same little tinge of disappointment among definitely myself. I was sat there thinking, what was he playing at? I think I remember him most fondly in the season post the Wembley one where we lost to Huddersfield in the playoffs. That's where I really strongly remember him from, that horrible blue Sondico one, the block blue with the pinstripe white. I just seem to picture him in that. I think it's the Brentford goal, the header. There's a couple in that season, I think, where he's flying into tackles on the edge of his own area. I think it's coupled with one of my favourite Adam Reach memories also, actually, is Preston away, where Reach scores late on, where we were...
The commentary in that game is fantastic.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. But he made a tackle in that game, which I think was on the highlights package that AFC Wimbledon put out about what you can expect from this player, where he was deceptively quick, Sam Hutchinson. You watch him running against people and you're just thinking, he's not going away from him. I didn't think anybody ever actually burned him for pace. I just wish, and obviously I know he was at the club for 8 years. He's a player who I just kind of wish had seen it out with us, if that makes sense. And I know he had that desire to go on playing. And I know obviously we released him, didn't we, at the end of that first League One season. I just feel he deserved his day in the sun at Wembley. And probably, can you imagine now? He probably wouldn't be playing, but can you imagine him now in this squad setup around that Danny's got now?
Oh,
like being just in and around the club, because I think he is somebody who you looked at, and AFC Wimbledon fans will have seen it. He's going to pick up a lot of bookings. It took him 8 minutes yesterday.
Yeah, but congratulations to those that got had 8 minutes on.
Yeah, 8 minutes on your bingo.
Hutchinson bingo card. Yeah.
But he is somebody who will just represent your club, and you know, for every single second that he is on that pitch, he will give his absolute all for everything. Yeah,
it's not only that as well. He's been at the highest level, obviously, with Chelsea.
Yes.
So all these things that Danny, him and Danny Röhl. All right, I know it was quite a few years ago, and things have moved on a little bit, but he'll be able to resonate quite well because that's kind of the background that Danny Röhl's had at the top elite level, and there's not many players at Sheffield Wednesday that can say that. Do you know what I mean? So. I know some have been in the youth setups and stuff, so kind of a little bit, but he's been in the first team at a Premier League club. So, yeah, I think you bang right there. But no, it was just great to see, and obviously, a lot of Wednesday fans liked to see him as well. I know he's only got a month deal, but yeah, we wish him all the best at AFC Wimbledon. So kind of talking about former players as well, I mean, this player is still ours, but Cadamartri got a goal at
he needs to change
Lincoln.
them. We talked about boots earlier, James. He needs to change them fucking Skechers. They are horrible, them things that he's got on. Ooh, man alive, they're minging.
Well, they're working. He's got 2 in 2, 7 for the season in all competitions. I don't want to scare you, but Ashley Fletcher also bagged a goal yesterday for Blackpool.
Who against? Do you know?
Oh,
Whoever it was, local blindside or what? Like, I mean, Jesus Christ, who on earth were they playing?
He's got 2 goals this season. He's banging form.
I 2 more than Ike Ugbo in the league. Sorry, Ike.
I have no idea who they were playing last night. Reading, was it Reading? I think it was.
Oh my God! What? Jesus Christ! I thought he was going to be playing someone like the Forest Green of this year. Like I thought that was who it was going to be against. No, fair play to him.
I've not seen the goal. It could have hit his arse. And gone in.
Yeah. Wow, we would have killed for one of those last year.
Yeah, Joe, I think he scored something like 6 goals in 6 years or something, and he still classes himself as a striker, which. Anyway. His namesake scored as well. Stephen Fletcher got on the score sheet for Wrexham. Andre Gray scored for Rotherham. All the former Wednesday players are just banging the goals in.
Have you seen the funniest clip from a Sheffield Wednesday player? Because obviously Malik Wilks is still on our books, but have you seen the best clip from Malik Wilks yesterday of the frozen?
No.
For anybody who hasn't seen it, go on Twitter and have a look at the Malik Wilks frozen leg skill. It is unbelievable. I think it's Johnson Clark Harris as they're walking off the pitch. He's ripping him to shreds about it. It is the most stupid piece of skill you've ever seen, and he still somehow manages to beat the wing back who's there. He stands, for those of you who haven't, and for those of you who are listening to this through an audio medium rather than kind of like watching it, he stands the player up, then stands still opposite him and just bounces up and down on the spot like individual legs, and then kicks the ball past him and runs. It is fucking bonkers.
For those that are listening live, I have just retweeted it, so just go and
it's mental.
Go over to Twitter.
And we all whinge, James, at like Jenny Gasama and people like that, and Anthony Masaba taking on a man too much and all the rest of it. We need more of that shit. Because can you imagine if, really seriously, now you've seen it, can you imagine if Anthony Masaba did that out wide and forgot the ball? Oh my God.
I wouldn't put it past him. Do you know what? That's kind of the level of my skill. That's something that I could do. That
brilliant.
What was he thinking? I mean, has he practiced that on in training or what?
Oh, it's mint. It's so good.
The thing is, though, if you put a mirror in front, it's like the other guys just mirroring what he's doing, just copying him.
It's like that drill for anybody who has played kind of like Sunday League and you had a bit of a busy manager. Think of Steve Bracknell. And he's going, come on, quick feet, go. It is literally that. It's great.
Oh, dear. Right, let's get back on to Wednesday chat then. We've got Stoke coming up. We haven't got a game in midweek.
Thank God.
But we have got another 12:30 kick-off at the weekend. Yeah. So let's not get too excited. I have just changed my notes. It's not Stephen Schumacher who's the manager. It's Narcis Pelach. Not a clue who the hell he is. I've no idea where they've got him from. I will be speaking to a Stoke fan this week, so you can get that on Patreon, patreon.com/WTID pod. We've got preview shows every single week for every single game as well, so you can always look forward to that. I'm just having a quick look at who he is. He was the interim manager twice at Huddersfield.
Yep.
Before that, it was at CF Peralada.
Cool. Maybe.
Which, do you know what? The ground's got 1,500 capacity, which is about how many fans Stoke get, to be fair. So, absolutely nobody. I have no idea who he is. But they're in absolutely dire form at the moment. Do you know what? I was just looking as well. If you look on the league table, and if you look at the teams that are down near the bottom, I think the bottom 6 or 7 clubs have got about 3 wins between them.
Yeah,
and I think Portsmouth have got 2 of those.
Yeah,
honestly, there's so many out of form sides, and I feel like we keep playing them. In these run of games that we've had, they've all been lacking in that department. But yeah, it's another game that I know it's at home. And mad saying this, we struggle at home, but it's another team that we really should be looking to put away.
Well, if you were talking about this block of fixtures, this next 3 block of fixtures in terms of Stoke, Middlesbrough and Preston, and you were saying, let's say we get 2 wins from it, this is one you need to be targeting. I know did they get a last minute equaliser at the weekend, Stoke, I think, from some god-awful defending or something like that. Keeper comes caught in no man's land, free header. You need to win, and I didn't really buy the argument earlier in the season, we're loads better away from home. But at the minute, the attitude between not only the players, but also from the fans as well, like the difference between home games and away games, going to those games as a fan is night and day at the minute. Like, it is unbelievable. Like, there appears to be a positivity and a free-flowing nature where the pressure is off away from home, both amongst players and fans. Like yesterday, Oxford score, there's no like, fucking hell, this is shit, these are crap, this is this. There's none of that. There's no unrest. It's just like, all right, okay, we'll just get back on with it then. There needs to be a bit more of that at home. Like, again, I don't know what the magic solution is to turning this atmosphere around at home. I don't know whether it's performances on the pitch. I'm not sure. I think there's an argument for that. I do also think there is an argument for ourselves as fans. Sorry, I say ourselves as fans. I think everybody else, because I obviously sit on the south, so you don't raise your voice there. I do think there needs to be an onus on that, because I think, again, those away games have been a prime example. Back the team. Like, we are doing far better than anybody had actually anticipated, but there does need to be an improvement in that performance of a home game. Like, we do need to start on the front foot like we did yesterday. We do need to see that progression and what we have done, I suppose.
Yeah, I've got a lot on the atmosphere. Maybe we'll park that for perhaps an extra time episode or something like that. But yeah, we need to... I think we just need to do whatever we did against Oxford. I mean, it does rely on Stoke kind of coming at us a little bit, which, you look at their form, 7 games without a win now, 4 draws, 3 defeats. You were right, they did get a 94th minute equaliser yesterday, 2-2 draw with Cardiff. They did go ahead in that game as well, and they were losing, and obviously pegged it back right at the death. So, but it wasn't a win, it was only a draw. It might have felt like a win to them, but I'm just looking at their away form. They are actually a little bit, the evenly matched away from home versus their home form, but no win in the last 3. They have scored in the last 5 away games, though.
They're going. James, I don't think there's any debate about whether they're going to score or not. I think that's a fucking nailed-on certainty.
Yeah, exactly. Probably first as well, and we'll go on to
100%
to win. But they've lost the last 2-1. So, again, I just think you look at a team like that, and if we are, I know we had that conversation before, are we looking further up the league? Look, if we are going to have any sort of aspirations of finishing in the top half, or even challenging, challenging for the playoffs, we have to be putting these sides away. Do you know what I mean? And one thing I would say, when we've come up against sides that are below us in the league so far, we've done pretty well. I think I saw the graphic. I think 2 sides we've there's only 2 teams that we've got beaten by that are below us.
Yep.
Everyone else is above us currently in the league. So, based on that theory, we're going to win against Stoke, and we're going to get beat by Middlesbrough when we take on them after. But I mean, would you take that if we beat Stoke and then lost against Middlesbrough?
100%.
Would you take that?
100%, James. I think if we're going into this next block of fixtures, win 1, lose 1, draw 1. That's what I'd predict, honestly, for this. And I know we'll meet up and speak about this, and obviously we'll record again between, like all of those games being played. 100%, I would take 4 points out of these next games. Like I think you've got to win your home game. I think it's the emphasis on winning at home for a change would be really, really nice, because I think it sends everybody away from Hillsborough going into 2 back-to-back away games. I think it sends everybody away with a very positive atmosphere amongst the fan base. I know, the Preston game is going to feel like a home game because we've got nigh on 6,000 going there, obviously.
What an achievement. Well, not necessarily an achievement, but what an effort that is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For that many, in between Christmas and New Year as well, to take that sort of number. I was there at Blackburn when we had 700,000, and that was a fantastic atmosphere. I don't think Preston are renowned for having a decent atmosphere there, so it'll probably feel like a home game, won't it, at Deepdale?
It didn't make general sale for any Blades who are tuned into this. I mean, why would you be? But like for any Blades who are tuned into this, it didn't make that thing that you keep going to called general sale, which is just amazing. Like the fact that it hasn't got to somebody who has just been to one game, like over the course of this, the fact that it has gone out, I think it went at members, didn't it? I think that was where it kind of went down to, which is, it's a stellar effort. And again, in the period of time, but again, just going back to that block on kind of Stoke, I think you have to have a win. And I do also think you need a performance as well. We need to see something like what we saw against Oxford yesterday. And I think if you start like that in the first 10 minutes, in terms of the intensity, and that we can see that is there, I think that you will get the Hillsborough crowd on the side and people will be more upbeat. Most people have just finished work for Christmas, yada, yada, yada. That, like, I know it's a 12:30 game, but it should be a very positive atmosphere. Saying that, if I was Stoke, I would be coming in, parking 11 players behind the ball and saying, go on and break this down. That's what I would be doing if I was a Stoke manager. I'd be looking at it and going, these are, if they don't score inside the first 20 minutes, this will be stone dead silent. So just sit in.
I think we've just got to throw caution to the wind again and just
100%.
Let's sod passing the ball out, along the back 4. Fucking go for it. We've seen that we can when we try, we can score goals. Yes, we'll probably concede 1, but if you have that, it's Kevin Keegan, isn't it? You score 4, you score 5 attitude. We've got, as I mentioned before, three forwards that have scored. They'll be bang up for it. Smith's had a great game. He's got another assist. He'll be feeling positive. Shea Charles got an assist as well. There's players there. It's all different players that they've done something. They've had some sort of goal contribution. Mm-hmm. Baz will just be prime Baz. Baz, just get a bit further up the pitch, please. You play far better when you're a little bit further forward. But yeah, in terms of score prediction, Matt, I'm going to go another 2-1 win. I don't care how we get it. Let's hope we don't concede first. But I think, we'll concede a goal. But I think we'll have more than enough to beat Stoke. And it'll set us off into that Christmas run. Very, very happy indeed.
100%, 2 for 2, James. It's going to finish 2-1 because we will guarantee to concede. That is just what happens with us at the minute. I'd love to see us go and win 1-0 and actually play really well and dictate and dominate and control the game. But I think from everything that you've read out there in terms of the metrics of not only ourselves but Stoke, it's guaranteed that they are going to score at some point. I just hope it's 2-0 and they score in the 94th minute to make it 2-1. And then the referee kicks off and blows the whistle. That would be fine for me. But I do think that I want to see that a bit more caution to the wind. And actually, it's going to be very interesting for a side. I actually thought the performance yesterday was probably our best since Plymouth on the opening day in terms of a complete second half performance and all the rest of it, in terms of attacking intent. But we're going to play a side who aren't going to play like Oxford did. They're just not going to do that. So it'll be interesting to see how we go about breaking them down.
Do you know what? Before we finish, Matt, I think a few people have said it already. I want to shout out Beadle as well, because I think in recent weeks, I'm going as far as saying the Derby game, the Hull game, and certainly yesterday against Oxford, the reason why, we won those games, yes, we scored goals, but it's down to James Beadle as well.
Yep.
Some of those saves he made, he had no right to make them. And
Nope.
they're not like for the cameras, they're not like tipping it around the post. They're like 5 yards out, and he's come out, he's spread himself. He's got them long dangly arms, a bit like yourself. And just get something on it, gets a foot on it, whatever it is, puts them off. In the case for, who was that one against? Was that Cardiff? Well, I can't remember who it was now.
Preston.
It was Preston, where he just shit himself and put it into the stands. But yeah, Beadle has been fantastic. I know we've spoke about his kind of save percentage and everything else.
Really seriously, that doesn't matter. Like for him as an individual, that does not matter. He has undoubtedly yet again in a half season at Sheffield Wednesday saved us more points than he's cost us.
They're good as goals, aren't they?
Yeah, 100%. Like 100%. Like again, I'm really not meaning to dig him out, Cameron Dawson. But if that is Cameron Dawson in net yesterday, that's 3-1 Oxford at half time. Like he makes two saves that he has. They're good saves. But like previous years gone by, we've watched Sheffield Wednesday keepers not save them, and he makes them look relatively routine. Even he's made, as you mentioned, like he's made a couple of spectacular saves over the past couple of weeks. But yesterday was as impressive as any of those because he kept us in the game, and he's playing out of his skin at the minute.
Do you know what? I don't want to jinx it, but the other thing as well, he's not been making any mistakes either. No, in terms of his passing out from the back. I know there was the Leicester game. I think there was the Norwich game last season that he made mistakes and led to goals. I mean, against Blackburn, at one point, the can't go rushing up to him and he just little drop of the shoulder. See you later, son. Kid behind me obviously had a heart attack when that happened, but. And I think quite a lot of the other fans in the ground did as well.
It's very un-Yorkshire in it. That it's very un-Sheffield Wednesday. That watching a keeper doing like a back heel away from somebody.
Yeah, there was one where he went out to Max Lowe and he passed it back to him because he kind of put him in a bit of trouble. And then he passed it back to him again, and we actually got out, and we did quite. Nobody panicked, and it was clearly something that we worked on because you kind of. But anyway, we'll not go into that. But yeah,
just on that, James, just to open up something potentially for people to discuss, obviously after listening to this, Brighton are in the market for another goalkeeper in this window. They are being rumoured to be looking at a goalkeeper in Germany who basically plays as a centre midfielder. Make of that what you will in terms of where James Beadle will be next year in that pecking order, because currently they've got 2 first-team goalkeepers who are both top quality. They're looking at bringing in a third. Where does that leave you as a young goalkeeper who is playing incredibly well and has spent 18 months by the end of this season at a football club? Will his valuation still be £6 million or not? I don't know.
Yeah, Get in the comments at WTRD Pod. Do you think we should or could we be even in the market for James Beadle come the end of the season? Right, let's wrap things up. Matt, massive thanks as always. Huge thanks to everyone that's been listening and watching us live. We're always live on YouTube on a Sunday evening, 8 o'clock if you wanted to get involved. We're going to be recording Extra Time next, a bumper one. We're going to be talking about long sleeve shirts, Deli Bashiru, and should Danny be backed in January. So if you want to listen to that one, head over to patreon.com/WTRD pod. There is a 7-day free trial. Go and sign up over there and listen to Extra Time. It's going to be a great one as always. Thank you very much everyone, and we'll see you all next time. Cheers.